It is semifinal Sunday in the OHS BVA State Tournament in Division 1, and the first semifinal we have coming up for you here from Pickering Central is the Moeller Crusaders and the Beavercreek Beavers. I'm Jason Griefer. Great to have you here with us from the campus of Pick Central in the Columbus, Ohio area. These two teams meeting up here for the third time this season. They split during the regular season, playing each other about a month apart in the regular season, so they'll meet in the rubber match to try to advance to the championship. Moeller is in its 18th appearance at the state tournament, looking to advance to its 16th state final. On the other side, Beavercreek making its 9th appearance in the state tournament, and they're trying to reach the finals for the second time in program history, the other appearance back in 2015. With that, we'll step aside momentarily. Greg Waddell will be joining me on the broadcast, and on the other side of this brief pause, Greg will also be joined by a special guest here on OHSBVABroadcast.com.
We are back at Pickering Central High School. It's OHS BVA Championship Sunday, D1 match number 1 coming up in the semifinals. Moeller and Beavercreek coming up shortly, and we will begin things in about 15 minutes or so when the match gets started. But right now, very happy to have with us on the broadcast from the Professional Association of Volleyball Officials, Lucas Tuggle is here with us, and he is helping out with the OHS BVA here this weekend and the officials who do just a magnificent job for this event. Lucas, first off, thanks for being here with us, and tell us what you're all about and how you're going to be related, or I guess associated with the OHS BVA.
No, for sure. Thanks for having me to start off with. My role with OHS BVA is I'm actually the state officials coordinator, so I oversee the officials all throughout the year and for the high school boys in our last season, and moving over to the OHSAA. But so I oversee that, and then the PAVO is a organization that is a national organization that leads in training volleyball officials, primarily the collegiate level, but it's the primary training for even for the high school, where we get the education to help advance the officiating. So PAVO is so my role with that is a local board chair that helps service officials here in Ohio.
So as far as the officials are concerned, and you mentioned a lot of it has to do with NCAA officials, but sure, when the officials for this event are here, we talked about it a little bit on our broadcast yesterday. These officials are top notch. They don't miss much at all. I mean,
They are. Like you said, we have some of the top-notch officials here, some familiar faces as well. So, yeah, they're working hard all throughout the year, seeing plays, trying to get better, and this is their championship too, right? This is what they're working for, just like these teams. So their craft, and like you said, they're pretty good. So if you just give them the chance to take that neutral look at and not root for your team, they're doing a pretty good job out here. So
the PAVO was also able to help raise some money to help try to recruit new officials as well, and let's talk a little bit about that.
For sure. PAVO every year has a convention that's held with the NCAA Women's National Championship, which was held here in Columbus last year. So they every year hold a 5K online fundraiser that they donate to a local volleyball organization in the host city. They reached out. I said, we need to support boys volleyball here in Ohio. So they officials came together, raised some money, and gave us a pretty good check to help grow our sport here and help grow officials in general.
Growing officials, and I've heard a lot about, and there's been a lot of stories talking about officials in all sports right now, especially at the high school level. What do the volleyball officials go through? And hopefully there's not as much controversy involved with them, what they have to, kind of maybe some of the abuses that they get from the stands or whatever. But tell me a little bit about trying to recruit that when you're going up against that kind of national narrative.
No, for sure. And as you said, the national narrative now is just out there, and I think replay and stuff like that's kind of hurt us because, you know, it's hard to see some of these micro touches that these cameras can pick up on and stuff. But you know what? Like you said, we're doing a good job. They're just trying to get better all the time, and technologies help with that as well too, where we can see plays, we can go back and review stuff. When the match is over, it's not over for these guys. They're reviewing different plays, they're looking at film, they're looking at what can we do better to serve these teams and make sure we're doing the best job possible. Like you said, the perception out there, they're trying to get people in. You're going to get abused, but you kind of tune it out, you know, and it's part of the game, right? Like you're fighting for your team, and we understand that. But there's also that line, right? Where you got to understand that it is a game, right? And these are youngsters out here playing, and we're trying to be fair. And most officials, no officials out there trying to dictate the outcome of the game. It's hard enough to get the plays right, let alone try to manipulate it, right? So.
How do you try to recruit new officials now? What method do you use, or if there are some folks out there that may want to become and are interested in becoming an official?
Sure. If your time playing is over, or you just love the game, get involved. This is a good way to get back. You can make a little bit extra money. Pavo.org is a good way to start off. That will help you no matter what part of the country you're in. It's going to point you in the right direction. OHSAA.org is a good one for here in Ohio.
OHSAA.org and the POVA.org as well. Well, Lucas, thanks for giving back. Your organization, the national organization, giving back to the OHSBVA. That's exciting, and hopefully the sport of boys volleyball continues to grow. Well, we know it is. It definitely is. So, Lucas, thanks very much for joining us here today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Lucas Tuggle, he is part of the Professional Association of Volleyball Officials, and we are just about ready for match number 1, the Division I semifinal. Moeller and Beavercreek coming up. We'll have the player introductions and the first serve when we return here on OHS, or the Ohio broadcast, OHSBVAbroadcast.com.
Welcome back to this OHSBVA Division I state tournament semifinal. Moeller and Beavercreek just finishing up their final warm-ups before this semifinal gets underway. Jason Griefer, Greg Waddell, to bring you everything here, along with our fantastic ESP Media crew. This will be the rubber match of the season between Moeller and Beavercreek. They split during the regular season, Moeller winning match 1 back on April the 12th in 4 sets, and Beavercreek winning the second in straight sets. Tight match in that second one, but Beavercreek won it in straight sets, 23, 25, and 22. So, Greg, we look at the way Moeller comes in to this matchup, 21-6 on the season, but they've had an interesting road the last couple of weeks to get here. You go back to the regional final against St. Xavier, had a 2-0 lead there. Tried to let it go there, pushed all the way to 5. They got up getting away with it. And it felt like the match against Olentangy Liberty in the quarterfinals yesterday was essentially a carbon copy. Moeller raced out to a 2-0 lead. Olentangy Liberty found its groove into the third and especially the fourth set, and actually had match point against Moeller in the 5th before the Crusaders were able to survive that and eventually eke out a 19-17 win. That's going to be an interesting one here for Moeller. Can they sustain what they normally do, which is get out to fast starts?
Yeah, and I think Beavercreek would like to do the same thing as well. If they could get out to a fast start and maybe kind of put a little bit of pressure on Moeller, how would they react to that? But you're exactly right. I mean, I think that's going to be the key to this match. Who can come out fast? Will it be a little back and forth, or will it be one team kind of taking the lead? Moeller, interesting and surviving. Those are the 2 words I think that you used are key to what Moeller has gone through over the last 2 weeks, where you get out to big leads, and then it's like they almost change their style of their game. And because they have a lot of different weapons, a lot of different players and options that they can go to, and then they get away from what got them at that point in the match. And then they had to try to refocus and turn the light, flip the switch, and get back to it.
And on the other side for Beavercreek, a bit of an easier path to get here to this semifinal, sweeping Northmont in a regional final out of the West. And then yesterday in the quarterfinals, very impressive performance against Hudson in straight sets to get here to this semifinal.
Yeah, they've got Josh Culpepper, who is just a dynamic player. Austin Kolaskowski, they both did what they needed to do to help their team get to that straight set win, and they got past Hudson, a team who had not been here previously, and Beavercreek did what they needed to do. You rely on the players that got you there, so that's what they want to try to do here and get out to a fast start against the Moeller Crusaders.
Moeller trying to reach its 16th state championship, which would be later today. Beavercreek trying to get there for the second time in program history. The winner takes on either Elder or Centerville. We'll have this first semifinal for you coming up here next on OHSBVAbroadcast.com.
Welcome to this Division I volleyball semifinal tournament match between the Beavers of Beavercreek High School and the Crusaders of Archbishop Moeller High School. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a great country with freedoms like no other. To honor America and respect for all who have served this great country to defend these freedoms, you're invited to stand and sing our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Barnes. Line judge, Jim Moeller. And line judge, Brian Washburn. The athletes, coaches, and officials are guests of Beavercreek Central High School, and all fans are asked to respect the effort each of them has put forth preparing for today's contest. We ask all attending to show courtesy and respect for fellow fans, officials, coaches, those administering the contest, and of course your team and your opponents. And as we support today, as ever, please remember to respect the game. And now let's meet our teams. First, the visitors on your scoreboard, the Beavers of Beavercreek High School. Number 0, Xavier Red. Number 2, Wyatt Jones. Number 3, Jake Quintero. Number 4, Tim Parsons. Number 5, Parker Hansen. Number 6, Aaron Garrettson. Number 7, Nick Stagel. Number 8, Howard Towers. Number 9, Craig Skousen. Number 10, Jerez Tigala. Number 11, Austin Polskowski. Number 12, Luke Buell. Number 13, Colin Brown. Number 14, Josh Culpepper. Number 15, Haven Larison. Number 19, Akila Patel. The Beavers are coached by assistant coaches Herman Quintero, Noel Buell, C.C. Kamal, Chase Baxter, and head coach Carol West. And now the home team on the scoreboard, the Crusaders of Archbishop Moeller High School. Players, number 2, Luke Oliver. Number 3, Colin Yachts. Number 4, Sebastian Ray. Number 5, Brody Threm. Number 6, Ben Markham. Number 7, Brandon Wong. Number 9, Nate Rediger. Number 10, Jack Dollar. Number 11, Alex Jones. Number 12, Joseph Houston. Number 13, Hugh Lewis. Number 15, Tyler Gesselbrock. Number 16, Will Patterson. Number 17, Ben Haggerty. Number 18, Eric Palmer. Your coaches are Alex Boland, Dan Meyer, Gus Vogel, J.J. Greffelhammer.
Moeller and Beavercreek just about to do battle in this Division I semifinal. The winner to the state championship later today to take on either Elder or Centerville. Moeller will be on the left side of the court in white with gold shorts. Beavercreek will be in black as two guys race to the net. That's always fun. Always tell they're excited to go for a matchup like this. And before this match gets going, here is Greg Waddell with our officiating lineup.
Mike Mers will be the up ref and ref number 1 for this Division I semifinal match. David Barnes, the down ref. Brian Washburn, Jim Malott working the lines. Part of that great officiating crew that we'll have here all afternoon long. Championship Sunday.
Nick Stagel did beat Luke Oliver to the net for the race there, so we'll see if that proves to be a good omen for Beavercreek in this matchup here. We've talked, Greg, and the matches we saw with these two schools yesterday, and even in the lead-up before we come onto the air today, really thought this was going to be a really even battle between these two teams, and especially as you alluded to earlier, if Beavercreek gets off to a good start, how does Moeller respond? Because as we've seen in the regional final and even yesterday in the quarterfinal against Olentangy Liberty, the Crusaders get out to those really good starts and try and put the opponent behind the 8 ball, if you will. And
I think that's their MO for what they want to do. They want to come out and show they've got size. You know, we mentioned Will Patterson a lot yesterday. It's 6'10" inside, the biggest player in the tournament. So he is right out there. But then you're going to be going up against, for Beavercreek, Josh Culpepper. He's an outside hitter, but when you look at their top players for each team, player of the year in the West Region, first team All-State, Beavercreek can match up with that. But Moeller has a lot of size. They've got 6'10", 6'5" on that front line with Tyler Gesselbrock. Ben Haggerty at 6'4" plays a lot bigger than 6'4", if that's possible.
And we'll see how Ben Haggerty plays today. He struggled mightily against Liberty, especially with serve receive. And we'll see if he gets targeted here on this opening serve. Nick Stagel for Beavercreek to serve in the state semifinal. And an ace off the back, hits the tape, crawls over, and Nate Renneker couldn't get it, so Beavercreek with the first point.
And I really think not only the first match, but that first point right there is something I think that both teams want to try to use to their advantage. Ooh.
Haggerty with the first serve receive went over the net. Now we've got net contact here. Colin Brown of Beavercreek called for it.
Yeah, so Luke Buell was also right there at the net too, and a couple of mishits on both sides. Moeller an overhit on the serve receive, and then Beavercreek sent it right back over with the net violation.
Nate Renneker to serve. Very quiet against Liberty in the quarterfinal. Here is Colin Brown, quick serve into the middle, and getting it done is Luke Buell. He was a guy who started off slow in the quarterfinal against Hudson, but really came on over the last two sets and was really the difference in those final two sets for Beavercreek.
I would agree. And we talk about Josh Culpepper and Austin Koliskowski being a couple of the mainstays, but Luke Buell was huge. Oh, there's another ace.
Targeting Ben Haggerty. Overplay on the first serve receive. This one he misreads it. And so it's 3-1 in favor of Beavercreek. And I expect the Beavers to go at Ben Haggerty early and often in this one, given how much he struggled with serve receive yesterday. Wong takes this one. Haggerty will get a run up and finds one cross court.
Well, and that's how you maybe try to get Luke Haggerty into the match, or Ben Haggerty rather, into that match. You try to take his brain off the serve receive part of it and set him up on the offensive side.
Now with the substitution, Brandon Wong out and Will Patterson in on the front line. 6'10" middle for Moeller. First team All-State. Brody Threm with the serve. Brown. Culpepper has to go from the back there, so a free ball here. This is Markham, and there is Will Patterson. He had 17 kills in each of the two regular season matches between these two schools, and he has his first early in this semifinal.
Yeah, there's two guys in the middle. Luke Buell will be going up there battling up against the 6'10" Will Patterson, who had 265 kills in the regular season.
Brody Threm to Culpepper. Not much going to be on this from Koliskowski. It's blocked up front. And a little surprise there. Patterson and Haggerty went to challenge that immediately, and it goes in the favor of the Beavers.
Yeah, I think Will Patterson tried to get hands on that one on the return and blocking a shot from back well off the net, and I think might have been well served to let that one go by and let the defense set up.
Austin Koliskowski on serve. This is Markham setting it up to Patterson, too far away from the net, and fires it right into the net.
So a 5-3 lead here in the early going. Yeah, that set was just a little bit off. Ben Markham, or Will Patterson, kind of stretching that right shoulder a little bit. We saw him doing that a little bit yesterday as well. And this is early. Here's another thing to think about. Although these guys have played a lot of early matches, getting loose, getting ready and limber to play when you're this early.
And Patterson has a small brace on that right shoulder. Here is Ben Haggerty. That is blocked, but playable by Renneker. The back set to the near side. That's kept alive for the moment. Here is Culpepper. His first swing is blocked, but out.
Well, Colin Brown had a great dig on that one after a nice return to get it to the front of the net. And again, Beavercreek able to get that net presence right now. They're winning the net battle right now.
6-3 in favor of Beavercreek. Koliskowski remains on serve. That's going to be called a violation, a net violation by the sophomore setter for Moeller, Ben Markham, and Beavercreek with 7 of the first 10. It's going to be a fascinating coaching matchup as well with Carol Bisek over at Beavercreek, Lee Meyer over at Moeller, two of the best in the state. Koliskowski. Markham going out wide. Here's Haggerty. Nice dig by Stagel. Here's Culpepper and just mistimed it. And I think the size of Patterson bothered him a little bit there.
I think he changed his mind while he was mid-air. He wanted to take a full swing and then decided to maybe just try to get it over top of Patterson, who continues to kind of flex that right arm and try to limber the fingers up.
See, right over the bicep. He's got a small little brace there. Here is Culpepper. His first true swing is kept alive by Wong. Haggerty out wide, cut the angle. Culpepper won't keep that one in play with the left. Brandon Wong has proved himself to be one of the best liberos in the state of Ohio. He was magnificent against St. Xavier in the regional final. He was great yesterday against Olentangy Liberty.
And he's going to need to be a big part setting that front line and trying to keep them in some type of a rhythm.
Culpepper took a little off that time and got the job done.
And again, I think he might have changed his mind midstream because he saw Patterson sliding over there looking for the block, and maybe that set wasn't quite exactly where Culpepper could take a full swing at it anyway, but very effective, gets it through.
Howard Towers checks in for Beavercreek on the front line. He had a really nice performance against Hudson in the quarterfinal.
Koliskowski serving for Beavercreek.
Patterson in the middle, got it through.
Oh, he took a good full swing at that. Let's see how he kind of reacts afterwards. But sometimes you feel a little bit better, that adrenaline will go when you make a good swing like that.
He's still shaking that shoulder after that follow through, though. Here is Haggerty on serve. Brown with the back set to the far side to Skousen, the southpaw. Markham out wide. This is Reneker. Didn't get it over.
Well, he wanted to roll that one right along the front of the net and try to drop it down at the feet of potentially all the way over to Culpepper on that left side, but just didn't have quite enough to get it over top of the net. 9-6 Beavercreek here, set number 1.
Senior Tim Parson checks in now for Beavercreek. Plays on the back line, but more of a serving specialist. The Beavers up 3 in this first set. Markham with the back set, and well long from Tyler Gesselbrock. His first attempt misses the mark. Interesting for Gesselbrock in the regular season matches. Moeller wins the first match in 4 sets, and Gesselbrock played the distance and had 9 kills. In the second match, which Moeller lost in straight sets, he only played in 1 set.
Sometimes you got to go beneath the surface on those stats and just the scores to see what might have happened. A nice kill from Reneker on that left side.
And they also got net contact up front. So either way, it's point to Moeller, but the Crusaders trailing 10-7, and Brandon Wong to serve it in, wearing the Navy jersey today to differentiate himself as a libero. And now for Beavercreek, their libero, Akila Patel, is in, wearing the orange jersey, Colin Brown. That's blocked. It's going to be a 50-50, and meeting at the summit, and the second attempt from Howard Towers misses wide, and Moeller starting to settle in here just a bit, now down 2.
Yeah, Brody Threm, just 6'2", and I say just 6'2", but he looks shorter to some of the other guys out there. He had that 50-50 joust at the net. Got the win.
Wong trying to go to the back corner. Here is Brown and Kolaskowski from the back. Wong will set it up, and not much organization there. And boy, a really offset from Gesselbrock there. Kolaskowski stumbled and took a spill as he was backpedaling on the right side. He's okay, but Beavercreek takes the service back, and now their all-state man Josh Culpepper on serve, and he has a wicked serve.
47 aces up to this point for Culpepper.
There you go. Wong handles it beautifully, though. In the middle, Threm misses long, so maybe a little bit of extra energy from Moeller in the early going, missing things long, and Lee Meyer is going to take a timeout in this first set of the semifinal. Beavercreek has led throughout, right now ahead by 4. We wondered, Greg, in the lead up to the match, how would Moeller respond if Beavercreek got out to a good start? And here you see Lee Meyer having to spend a timeout way earlier than I'm sure he imagined in this start.
Yeah, but not that there's been a lot of errors on either side, but Beavercreek has played as well as they could have hoped to coming out in this match. They've gotten out fast. They pretty much had a lead all the way from the outset. Colin Brown had a nice little service run. Now you got your big gun back there, Josh Culpepper, serving. They've got a 4-point lead, and see how Moeller reacts.
Josh Culpepper handled nicely in the back. And out wide, Reneker gets one. He's a guy that Moeller really needs to have a strong performance from in this semifinal if they're going to advance. He was not much of a factor against Liberty, very sporadic in his production against St. Xavier in the regional final.
And that's the depth that Moeller has that they need to rely on.
And Gesselbrock is off to a rough start. He's twice missed long on kill attempts, and now a serve goes into the bottom half of the net.
And again, there haven't been a lot of errors, but the errors that have come off the Moeller side, and either miss hits, longs, or service errors like that right there.
Stagel to serve. Markham with the back set. Here is Gesselbrock. Deflected, kept alive. This will be a 50-50 ball. Colin Brown trying to dump it. There's Wong. Reneker blocked. Wong will set it up behind. Reneker has to wait on it. That's blocked again. Beavercreek challenging everything right now from the back. Dollard couldn't get it.
Man, Gollard stuck in there. We didn't see him come onto the floor, but another misplay, and that was great net play by Beavercreek. 3 different attempts, Moeller could not convert.
Jack Dollard did not appear in the quarterfinal until the 4th set, and did not appear in the regional final until the 4th set. So Lee Meyer shifting things early. Reneker takes something off. Good read.
Yeah, dropped right at the feet of Stagel, trying to dive to get to that one, but Moeller needed that one, as we'll see Dollard out and Ben Haggerty back in. That's that rotation we saw in the 4th set, and you made mention of it in the St. X match. That happened as well in the regional finals, trying to spur Moeller after they had blown a 2-set lead.
Reneker on serve. Brown goes with the quick one and dug out nicely by Gesselbrock. Brown can get there. Not the best pass. Koliskowski has it deflected. Another 50-50. And this one won't make it over. Gesselbrock just too close to the net.
Well, I don't think Koliskowski got it over anyway. You don't see many errors by Austin Koliskowski, but it seems like Moeller has been able to set up their offense, and Beavercreek has been defending quite a bit. They haven't been able to really set up a whole lot here of late.
Brown to Buell in the middle and found some space off the fingertip of Threm.
Well, there you go. That was the first time little bump set spike for Beavercreek. And they get the point in a 15-11 lead.
Beavercreek's been solid, but it's been more so this lead being built up because of Moeller errors thus far. And now Colin Brown, the junior setter, to serve. And Haggerty reads it correctly this time, and it goes long.
Yeah, one of the few mistakes that Beavercreek has had here in the early going. Moeller is, again, they seemingly like they've had the opportunities to be the more of the aggressor, but Beavercreek has done a great job in defending, and yet Moeller still only 3 points down.
Threm from the middle, his traditional serving spot. Brown has to hustle. Skousen with the left couldn't get it. A low set from Markham left Patterson hanging out to dry, and the attempt is sent back by Buell.
And I think Markham may have been doing the quick set, and I think on that one, Patterson was looking for the higher full swing type of set.
For Beavercreek on their side, 4-point lead, and we have not seen Josh Culpepper really involved in the offense as of yet. Here is Haggerty on his side. Got it to go there, targeting Steigel with these cross-court balls, and he's been up and down thus far in responding.
Now, and kind of what you were just saying, we haven't seen Culpepper involved because it seems like Moeller has been the one that has had the offensive going, and a lot of times it's just been blocks at the net going right back over on one or two, not allowing Beavercreek to set up an offense, yet they've got the lead.
Caught the line. Ace for Ben Markham, and so Moeller within two. Beavercreek leads 16-14. Markham gets his assignment from his head coach, Lee Meyer, targeting Culpepper on the first touch. Here is Koliskowski from the back corner, placed perfectly.
Well, that's not one you would see. We'd see Culpepper come from the middle down the pipe like that, but Austin Koliskowski, that was a wonderful swing and painted the back corner, and Beavercreek just keeping that little bit of lead. They trade serves back and forth here. That works in Beavercreek's favor.
Buell on serve, took a little off. Haggerty down to a knee. Haggerty gets the return and tipped at the front, and Buell couldn't get it at the back, and so Moeller takes the serve back, and we keep trading points.
Yeah, but again, that works in Beavercreek's favor. Moeller has not yet gone on more than a 2-point run off the serve.
We'll see Jack Dollard
how about that?
Back in. Again, it's been a minute since Dollard has seen action this early in a match, and so Lee Meyer not liking what he saw, I think, especially the way Haggerty was receiving serves on that back line, and so Dollard now in. Dollard is a defensive specialist. Skousen pokes it over with the left. This will be a free ball. Markham, the back set to Gesselbrock. Much better from the sophomore, and Moeller is within one.
Well, this will be interesting now to see how Jack Dollard, and we were looking at the Moeller stats from the game, and even though Dollard kind of checks in as a defensive specialist and hadn't seen a lot of action of late, he has still played in more games, in more sets than any other player in the Moeller squad.
Koliskowski going deep to the back line. Cross court, Reneker ties the set at 17, and a timeout is coming for Beavercreek. Moeller got off to a slow start, and they have cleaned things up since their own timeout. And midway through this set number one of the semifinal, we're deadlocked at 17. Moeller has found a groove here and has started to clean up the errors that allowed Beavercreek to build an early lead in this one. And even despite the fact that Beavercreek has led throughout, Greg, as we've been talking about this, the Beavers' offense has really not gotten itself organized at all throughout this first set.
No, and it's because I think Moeller's been the aggressor, but they've made more errors that haven't shown 2 points where Beavercreek has. But Jack Dollard coming in, he's second on the team in aces with 22, sharing that spot with Ben Haggerty.
Culpepper. We were just talking about the fact he had not seen the ball much, and that was a beauty of a set from Colin Brown, and Culpepper gets his first kill.
Well, that was just what Beavercreek needed, though, coming out of the timeout to try to set up some offense. Again, it feels like they've been trying to scramble and let Moeller be the aggressor. Moeller hadn't taken advantage of that. And give Beavercreek's defense credit, too, because they've been able to defend some of that aggressive net play by Moeller.
Parson with the serve. That was Dollard with the play that time, a little behind, and this will give a free ball to Beavercreek if they can execute. Culpepper through Will Patterson, and that's what you got to do with a 6'10" guy. You've got to challenge him.
Well, and if you're Beavercreek, you need to get Josh Culpepper really, really involved because he ends up being your go-to player. He was the West Player of the Year. He's an amazing player, 285 kills in the regular season.
Tim Parson on serve once again. Beavercreek out of the timeout. Couple in a row here, and the serve just wide. Just missed. Not by much.
No. I like the idea on that one, and that's a crucial point. There's only been a couple of service runs from either team here, and that's why we got a 1-point set.
That ball might have been sailing wide. Parson played it anyway. Koliskowski had to wait on it, and now Wong sets up Gesselbrock, blocked by Culpepper. Markham going cross court to Reneker, took something off, and a dangerous collision in the back between Patel and Koliskowski. Both going for the ball at the same time on the floor, and both look to be okay, and that is a good sign off of what could have been an ugly situation.
Well, Keela Patel, just 5'3" out there, and talking to Carol Biseka about how she made her way onto the Beavercreek squad. She'd been a 3-year player for the girls up until this season, getting a chance to play for the boys now.
This will be a point to Beavercreek. She sat out this past girls volleyball season to focus on her academics. She has a GPA of nearly 5.0 and is going to NYU to major in computer science. But once the fall semester ended, she wanted to play volleyball again. Carol Bisek invited her to come out. She had to earn her way onto the team. She had to make her way through tryouts. She made the team, and she is now the team's libero as Culpepper misses the service here long to tie us at 20. So a great story for her.
Wonderful
and
story.
Obviously, based on her academic background, she has an incredibly bright future ahead of her.
And she is one of a lot of players in the Beavercreek squad that have GPAs well above 4.
Holland Brown here. Austin Koliskowski to the back line. Ben Markham, cross court to Reneker, poked alive by Culpepper off the ceiling. Patel at least gets it playable, but Koliskowski couldn't shake it down. That's a good effort by Patel there. You never know where that ball's going to bounce off when it hits a beam above the playing surface, but it goes Moeller's way, and the Crusaders have worked their way into the lead.
Their first lead of the match here with Tyler Gesselbrock serving.
He gives it right back. The sophomore Tyler Gesselbrock, a little too amped up here in this first set. He's missed several opportunities long. And now Nick Stagel comes in to serve, replacing Howard Towers. 21 all here in the first set of this semifinal. Gesselbrock near side, again misses long. Was not tipped at the net. Now Beavercreek reassumes the lead at 22-21.
And again, another error for Moeller. They're setting up the offense that they want. They're just not converting when they need to.
Stagel once again. Markham out to Reneker. They are trying to get him more and more involved, but Reneker puts it
it goes off the Beavercreek block into the...
It did it off the Beavercreek block into the antenna, so it is a point to Moeller, 22 all. And Reneker now goes to serve as Haggerty comes into the front line replacing Dollard. Brown, the back set to Culpepper from the back, and got it done right through Brody Threm. They attack immediately in the middle with Will Patterson on the bench.
And that's, again, the answer that Beavercreek needed on that one. No service run, and now a chance. You put Colin Brown back there serving, 2 points away from the first set.
He is their second best server behind Josh Culpepper, and Haggerty handles the service just fine. Threm goes flying up out of nowhere, almost jumped from the 1 meter line right to the net to put it away, and we're tied at 23.
Markham was the only player at the net to set that one, and you're exactly right. I mean, you came flying out of nowhere, Brody Threm did. I didn't know there was miscommunication on that play, but they salvaged something.
Culpepper handles it. Brown with the back set. Koliskowski trying to go up the sideline and misses, and now Moeller has a set point opportunity.
Moeller's got to kind of feel fortunate, I think, in this because they've made more errors. Beavercreek has been the beneficiary of it, but they have not been able to quite convert here over maybe the last 5-6 points or so when they needed to, like they did early on.
Bit of perspiration here on the floor, and I think Lee Meyer thinking maybe that's a little gamesmanship from Carol Bicek. And the delay here, he's not happy.
And the Beavercreek bench cheering on Luke Buell out there cleaning up the floor. Like
he's a multi-talented young man.
I got to give some credit too.
And now after that cleaning up, Beavercreek's going to go ahead and take their final timeout. So trying to see if they can freeze the server, if you will. Moeller will, on the other side of this timeout, serve for the first set. We'll see if Carol Bicek was indeed able to freeze the server, Brody Threm, after cleaning up some perspiration. She uses her second and final timeout, with Threm having ball in hand with set point.
She is so good at getting those coaches' points.
She just stole it right into the net, and Carol Bicek's laughing over on her sideline. She knew it.
Shifty.
She knew it. And Lee Meyer with his hands crossed, almost as to say, you got to be kidding me.
It's like he knew it was coming.
Yes. Koliskowski on serve. Patterson quickly in the middle, and Moeller says, take that. Second set point coming for the Crusaders.
Ben Markham back to serve. Had an ace in his last go-round, his third time through in a rotation.
This would be a tight one throughout, and it has lived up to the billing through this first set. Markham to serve for the first set. Brown to Culpepper. Got it!
Well, there were hands on that one. Nice swing by Culpepper. Gesselbrock and Patterson were both there, got touches on it, but no one bailed them out after they got that initial touch. The ball kind of hung up in the air just a moment, but Moeller couldn't get down to lift it back to get it over, so 25 all, play on.
That's twice now Culpepper's gotten it through Will Patterson. Here is Luke Buell on serve, 25 all. Long floater, Haggerty handles it. Cross court, this is Gesselbrock on the left, and he misses again.
Well, and I think that time Patterson was in the middle ready to be set, but Culpepper was shadowing him, so the set went all the way to the outside and it went wide, so first set point now for Beavercreek.
Luke Buell trying to close it out for the Beavers. And their fans in the orange and black on their feet. Awkward handle from Wong, but still playable. Here's Gesselbrock, deflected and drops.
I'm starting to wonder, they have not gone back to Patterson in the middle a couple of different times through here now, those last two plays, and you just got to wonder how that shoulder is holding right now, because they've gone outside twice in a row to Gesselbrock.
It is bothering him for sure. Jack Dollar now into serve. We're tied at 26.
And he had a little bit of a run his last go-round, sharing that spot with Ben Haggerty.
And a check once again of the floor for perspiration, and we're okay to play, says the down official David Barnes. 26 all. Brown to the far side. Skousen takes it off. Wong, what a dive. We play on. Brown to the middle, and getting it done is Howard Towers. And Beavercreek now has its second set point in hand. And we'll see if Lee Meyer returns the gamesmanship and uses his final timeout.
That's the first time Howard Towers has been involved in the middle, as he'll come, or Skousen checks out, but back into Keela Patel. Set point number 3 for the Beavs.
Tim Parson with ball in hand, and we will play it. Set point for Beavercreek. Markham to Patterson, misses it long, and Beavercreek has taken set 1 of this semifinal, and thus far it's lived up to the billing. We thought it would be tight throughout. It is. And we had to go a little extra, but Beavercreek takes set 1 of the semifinal from Moeller, 28-26. Set 2 coming up in just a moment. Beavercreek wins set 1 over Moeller, 28-26. Maybe give some credit to Carol Bicek for calling that timeout after cleaning up perspiration when Moeller had set point. And the Beavers able to come back and win it.
Beavercreek led most of that match, and Moeller clawed their way back in. They kind of held in despite a lot of errors. And at one point, it was like Moeller should feel lucky that they were even in this match. And then I think Beavercreek kind of felt the same way. And you're absolutely right, though. I think Carol Bicek stole that point at 25-24 to even it back up, or 24-23 to force that kind of extra play. And then they persevere and get the 28-26 first set win. And
sometimes that's what you got to do as a head coach, try to steal a point here and there.
Well, Lee Meyer just in his second year as a head coach, and Carol's been around for a while.
Yeah, she is the master. Threm gets the second set started. It'll be an ace as Tim Parson could not handle the serve from the junior Brody Threm.
not an especially hard serve, but it's harder than you would think to receive. Just kind of that knuckler floater, and
especially when it's headed directly at you.
yeah.
Better job this time by Parson. Here's Culpepper from the back. Patterson's arm length got it, but wasn't able to do anything with it, and so a net violation called against Moeller, and Beavercreek will be on serve with Colin Brown.
Yeah, he got the initial touch of the net and was going to try to hit it back up again, made contact with the net.
Interesting here to see Wong come in to sub for Brody Threm and not Will Patterson. That's been the normal substitution. Oh, Markham with the dump, and able to get it as Stagel could not keep it alive.
That's the first time we've seen that dump from the middle.
Markham learned that from the predecessor, J.J. Beckelheimer, who was the star of that last year in Moeller's run to the championship. Beckelheimer now on the staff at Moeller, and Markham follows it up with a serve into the net.
Yeah, service errors.
And that was a problem for Moeller in the regular season. They had double-digit serve errors in both of the regular season matches against Beavercreek, 21 in total.
Austin Kolaskowski serving for the Beavs.
Markham with the scramble, and now Gesselbrock. Still missing long is the sophomore.
He is just not snapping down. It's almost like he's not quite fully following through. Not that he's flat-footed, because he's got elevation, but just not snapping that shot down.
Almost like making contact and pulling his arm back. Trying to be a little too
Instead
precise.
Of snapping, you're exactly right.
Not getting that angle. The back set here is Haggerty. This will be playable. Brown with the back set to Skousen. The lefty has his attempt blocked. Wong will set up Reneker from the back. And a nice dig by Stagel. Culpepper has to set it up to Skousen. That is blocked. Still playable. Culpepper with the windup. Patterson with the rejection.
That's the first time Patterson has gotten the block on a Culpepper shot. Culpepper's tried to go through a couple of times. Patterson's gotten hands on it, but it went out of bounds a couple of times. That time got it to fall through. Even Steven 3-3, and Jack Dollard back into serve.
And replacing Ben Haggerty. And
well, I think we're going to see that the rest of the day.
I would agree. As much as Haggerty struggled in the quarterfinal with serve receive, rotating, that likely would be the rotation. I agree the rest of this duration of this semifinal, but Dollard comes in and serves one immediately wide, and Beavercreek with a 4-3 lead.
That's back-to-back service errors by Moeller, too, just giving free points away.
Luke Buell. Wong straight in the air, forcing Markham to chase. Gesselbrock, playable. Brown out to Culpepper and right through Gesselbrock.
I think Gesselbrock just got a fingertip on that one, but not nearly enough to slow it down. And that ball found the floor. Point to the Creek. 5-3 lead.
I can see the frustration building for Tyler Gesselbrock right on his face.
And again, Will Patterson really flexing and grimacing.
This is Reneker gets the job done.
I think it says something, because you only get Patterson out there for a rotation of 3 players, he'll come out, but they're not setting him up a whole heck of a lot, very sporadically as he continues to kind of flex that shoulder.
That right shoulder, which is his dominant shoulder, is really bothering him. Brown with the back set to Skousen cross court, and it's picked up by Markham. Here is Gesselbrock, and we'll get it done, and perhaps that'll settle him down and calm his nerves. The sophomore gets the serve back for his team, and we're tied at 5. Brandon Wong to play it in, the senior libero. Brown towers, blocked by Threm. Brown has to chase. Kolaskowski from the back. Wong plays it over the net, and Beavercreek in scramble mode. How did that pass get set up by Kolaskowski, but Dollard with the scramble? Wong, can he get it over? Yes, he can, but Culpepper puts it away. What a great scramble from both, and the best point of the match.
The set that somehow got to Josh Culpepper to really take a good full swing, and so alert was Culpepper. Then a great return on the Moeller side of things, but then Wong from deep trying to get it over.
Lee Meyer upset about something and turned away from.
He thought Culpepper went over the net.
It was close.
Instead of letting it get across the plane of the net. Never gave it a chance.
That was close. 6-5 Beavercreek. Markham goes back to Reneker. Culpepper in perfect position. Brown to Kolaskowski from the back line. Here's Gesselbrock. What a dig from Koliskowski again with the left, but a double is called on the Beavercreek side, so it's back to Moeller. Boy, Koliskowski trying to do everything on that back line.
That was just a club he threw out there with the left hand on a huge swing from the middle just to even give his squad a chance. But, man, we're all tied at 6. What a match so far.
Koliskowski lets that one go, and Gesselbrock another error long.
Third service error now for the Crusaders here in the first 7 points for Beavercreek. 3 free points so far.
Culpepper with a spin on the fingertip before he lets this one rip. Dollar handling it rougher that time, and so this is going to be a free one. Patel to Brown to Towers, took something off. Set deep. Does Brown load up? Koliskowski had to wait on it just a bit. Reneker was that tipped at the line. There's a net violation called against Colin Brown.
I don't think that affected the swing, so Moeller kind of break on that one. Colin Brown trying to get in the face that time on the swing, as we're going to see Dollard out. Haggerty swings back in, and Reneker back to serve for the Crusaders. But
Moeller has turned Ben Haggerty today into purely a frontline player.
Yep. Like Will Patterson.
Koliskowski through the front line. Markham couldn't get it, and Gesselbrock's stab with the right, unable to do so, and Beavercreek back in the lead at 8-7 with Nick Stagel coming in.
Well, the serve receive for Beavercreek has been outstanding, not giving Moeller a chance to have more than 1 or 2 cracks each time when they are serving.
Haggerty handles this serve with no issue. Threm in the middle. What a dive by Stagel. Koliskowski, that's deflected, makes it playable. Markham cross court to Haggerty and gets it through the wall.
Well, if that's going to be Haggerty's role today as a frontline player, he's got to make those swings count, as Patterson will come back in now as he rotates to the front. So continues to kind of flex that hand and shake it out a little bit, but this is the rotation you would think that would favor the Crusaders, but it really hasn't paid a whole lot of dividends just yet.
Yes, with Threm and Patterson on the floor together, for sure. Culpepper with the pass to Koliskowski and mistimed it and hit it off the wrist, and it goes into the tape, and Moeller has the lead at 9-8.
That's despite a number of errors by the Crusaders to hang around in this one.
Moeller has not been at its best thus far in this semifinal.
But good teams find a way to overcome.
Culpepper from the back, blocked by Patterson. A reload for Koliskowski. Patterson might have went over the net.
It sure looked like it.
Culpepper shoves it to the back. Patterson, a third try, and Stagel hits the deck and couldn't handle it.
Yeah, the facial to Nick Stagel that time, and Patterson maybe only his 4th or 5th really full swing that he's had, but boy, the play before that, he had a defensive block that he had. At 10, he was so high, it certainly looked like his hands may have come over the plane of the net, but they played on.
Threm with the serve. Moeller leading 10-8 until now, and another service error for the Crusaders here. 4 of the 9 points from Beavercreek has in this set have been thanks to Moeller serve errors.
And that's just, sometimes it's just too much to overcome. Good teams can overcome some mistakes, but sometimes there's too many mistakes to be able to overcome, and Moeller's kind of flirting with disaster.
Markham going out wide to Haggerty. Stagel is there this time. Koliskowski with a set over on the second. I'm surprised at that, and it sets up Will Patterson. Stagel there, though. Skousen gets called for a lift.
All right, tried. It kind of was in between. He wanted to dump, and it was kind of almost like a set and in between. And
that was a catch and throw.
That was, indeed was what it was.
Moeller 11, Beavercreek 9 in set number 2. Thank you. S. Des Bryant. Brown to Skousen, misses long, and it's a 3-point Moeller lead.
Yeah, that set was just a little off the mark for the swing where Skousen was at the lefty, and on that left side, 2-point lead for Moeller equals their biggest lead. Or 3-point, 12-9. That is their biggest lead.
Markham. Brown this side, and was that tipped at the net? No, it was not, and it's a 4-point Moeller lead, and Beavercreek, I believe, is going to take a timeout. Yes, Carol Bisek signals for time. Despite service errors, Moeller's offense is finding its groove here in set number 2. They lead Beavercreek by 4 in this semifinal. Moeller 13, Beavercreek 9, and Greg, you were talking earlier about the strength of Beavercreek being serve-receive and how that helped them win the first set and kept them right in it in the second set. Right now, struggling a bit, and they're falling behind.
Yeah, a couple of the last serve rotations, they made a couple of errors, and a couple of errors. You had Skousen miss timing one and hitting it long. So there's been a couple of mistakes that Beavercreek, and that's why Carol Bysek is such a great coach, though. She sensed that, settles the guys down.
Brown has to hustle just a bit. The pass behind Skousen. Good dive on the Moeller side. Here is Haggerty blocked. Wong keeps it alive.
That may have been going out of bounds on Wong.
Markham sets it through. Free ball here. Does Brown go to Skousen? He will. Cross court for the winner.
And he looks a little more comfortable on that right side than when he was on the left side before and hit one long. He was able to take a little bit better swing and had the whole court, the left side of the court with that left-handed swing to work with. And another coach's point, although they had to battle through.
Skousen gets the job done there, although I'd like to see Brown work more towards Josh Culpepper as the serve here from Kolaskowski misses badly. Culpepper's kind of been in and out as far as his production thus far throughout the duration of this match, through a set and a half, if you will. I'd like to see Brown work back more towards him because he has the strength to challenge Will Patterson, who is not 100% with that bad right shoulder. Quick into the middle, and Buell short arms it. And pass a little low from Brown to boot.
Yeah, I think that definitely played a part in where Buell made contact with the ball. There's been a couple more errors in a row. This is the last 4 or 5 points for Moeller have come off some errors on the Beavercreek side.
Brown back to Culpepper, and Wong, what a dig. Gesselbrock has his blocked.
They're playing big boy volleyball.
Kolaskowski to the back, and was that tipped? Yes, it was.
Yeah, no argument on the Moeller side as well. I think they thought they might have been able to steal one away, but
that's Jim Malott, the line judge on this right side, and he has been fantastic in this tournament thus far. All of our officials have been on their game throughout this tournament.
That's something we need to really highlight.
Yes.
There's too many times where you hear people criticizing the officials. These guys have been great.
They have been fantastic. Here is Reneker. Was that tipped by Beavercreek? Yes, it was.
Yeah,
and so
blocked out of bounds.
Back to Moeller in a 5-point lead at 16-11. Patterson out, Threm in. Interesting seeing Patterson as he heads out, still working that shoulder, but not being looked at by any training staff or anything of that sort. And so I think it's just a matter of it's going to be sore. He's just got to tough it out.
Yeah, let him play through it.
Kolaskowski, not the best handle of the serve, and Skousen just has to dump it over, but miscommunication in the back as Markham made a step towards it and then bailed on Jack Dollard.
Well, and you got to think that maybe Dollard was calling for it. Markham started to go for it and then pulled back because he heard Dollard calling for it, and then they both didn't get a hand on it.
Tim Parson now to serve for Beavercreek with his team down 4. And trading points right now favors the Crusaders. Short one there, and just got to the tape and just died down to the floor. Dollard couldn't get it, and so Parson has an ace.
It did. It just died. It wasn't like the top spin dive. That ball just died. It just fell straight down.
That ball might have been going long.
I think so too.
Reneker across court. Patel is there. Brown has to hustle, and now Culpepper for some distance. Somehow got it to the back corner. Gesselbrock sets it deep. Where does Brown go? He's going to his first team All-State, Josh Culpepper, and Moeller scrambling. Ooh. Dollard gets it over. Wong again kept it alive, and now the soft touch from Howard Towers.
Well, they had out of system, Moeller out of system after the great scramble by Wong, and Moeller is going to take a timeout, sees their lead down to now just 2 points.
Beavercreek chipping away, finding some rhythm. Culpepper and Towers making the difference right now as Beavercreek now down 2. Beavercreek has elevated its game since their timeout, now forces Moeller to use one as well, as a 5-point deficit is cut down to 2. Great scrambling from both sides, just a bit better these last 2 sequences offensively from the Beavs.
And right now it's Beavercreek that's kind of persevering out there, because you feel like Moeller's starting to turn it up just a little bit, and they're starting to hit some of their plays. They've made a lot of errors so far in the first set and a half, but they're starting to connect on a lot more, and Beavercreek's had a few of those errors, so they're kind of hanging around here right now. But if they get the service run here from Tim Parsons, like you said, it was a 5-point lead at 1 point for Moeller, now down to just 2.
Yeah, Parson with a couple in a row before the timeout. Both teams scrambling very well in this second set to boot. Threm in the middle, and Patel couldn't get it with the left.
Well, that was just a nice play and a good court awareness. Beavercreek no net presence that time, and that allowed Threm just kind of push it just out of the reach of Patel.
Tyler Gesselbrock to serve. Culpepper, nice play. Brown back to Culpepper. You got to reward him after that serve receive.
Well, bump, set, spike. I mean, it's easier said than done, and especially off a tough serve receive to still set that one up. And that was a hard-earned point for Josh Culpepper, who goes back to serve.
It's the hardest part of that routine, that tic-tac-toe routine, is that serve receive. Dollard handles his adequately, sets up Reneker. This ball's going to the net, and good recognition up front by Reneker to shove it down.
Well, and give Colin Brown credit. He got up there to get a piece of that one, maybe to try to redirect it before it got on the hand of Reneker, but Reneker had that one timed out very well, and Colin Brown had already committed to jumping and wasn't able to get a second crack at it.
Moeller 18, Beavercreek 15 in the second.
That was a huge serve return for Moeller to get Culpepper off the serve.
Culpepper from the back. Boy, what a dig in the back by Nate Reneker. Here is Gesselbrock. Took something off. Patel is there. Brown out to Kolaskowski, got it through the wall and off the antenna, point to Beavercreek.
That ball just kind of hung up there for a moment on the top of the net and then rolled right into the antenna. So good serve receives back and forth in these two teams breaking the serve. It's just been one serve and out.
Starting to see fewer and fewer errors from both teams as well. They are really coming on and elevating their play. Stagel to serve. Haggerty, a rough receive, and this is going to set up Beavercreek with a golden opportunity. Buell took something off. I don't think he was expecting that pass from Brown. Stagel in position. Brown sets up Culpepper. Not everything on it. Wong in position. Threm in the middle, deflected and down. Point to Moeller.
That hit one of the banners at one point on the Beavercreek side. The fact that Culpepper was still able to get a pretty decent swing on it from the backline attack, but what a great return on the backline for Moeller to give themselves a chance to get the point, and it was well earned.
Trading back and forth we go. Still, that plays into Moeller's hand. Here is Brody Threm. Hits the net. Culpepper down. Brown dumps it over. That's the right move there. 50-50. Brown sets it up now to Buell, trying to shove it over. Stagel kept it alive, and that's going to be a double on Buell or a lift. Take your pick. I thought with Buell it hit his forearm and then his wrist as it went over. So you could call it either way. It's still a point to the Crusaders. 20-16. Both teams with one timeout remaining here in the second set.
And the hit went out of bounds anyway, so it didn't matter if it was a lift.
Kolaskowski, he's been quiet, doing more of his work on the back line so far. Here is Haggerty, and he misses long. Was it tip? No.
Well, Beavercreek had to kind of get over the play that they thought that Buell, well, he got called for the lift. And sometimes that could be a play that'll get you just your mindset wrong. That was a good recovery from that play to break the serve, get it back, but still down 3. Not sure what that delay was
brief
about.
Pause. There was a piece of foam around the near side post that came dislodged, and so Jim Malott came up and secured that back, and now Colin Brown to serve. Haggerty reads it wrong, and it's an ace, and Beavercreek back within 2.
He almost looked at the sideline like somebody on the sideline was saying let it go. So I don't know if it was he that made that decision or...
Brown. Haggerty, much better serve receive this time, and it sets up Will Patterson. That's a big bounce back for Haggerty.
He needed that nice set, and for Patterson, though, they have not gone to him a heck of a lot. When they have, it's been pretty spot on. That was a big-time kill, and Moeller right now, they'd be content just to trade serves.
Kolaskowski gets it through Patterson and Haggerty to take the serve back. It's 21-19 in favor of Moeller.
Now it'll be up to the serve receive of Moeller to try and break that if they want to keep trading those serves. Beavercreek, though, when they put, well, Kolaskowski missed his serve last go-around. Let's see how he recovers back from that one, but he's pretty reliable all season long.
Gets some tape. 50-50, and Culpepper wins this one, and no argument from Lee Meyer about Culpepper reaching over the top this time. The Creek within 1.
The tape on the serve disrupted that return as Lee Meyer is going to take a timeout. And that brings Beavercreek to within one.
No surprise, Carol Bisek's team not going away, and they'll serve for the tie late in the second. We didn't think either team would give a centimeter in this semifinal, given that it's the third time they've seen each other in the season, and that's exactly what we've got, Greg. This has lived up to all the billing we thought this would be.
Well, I think both teams know what the other team is all about, what they've got, how to defend it. Now it just comes down to execution, and we've seen a few errors here or there, but the players are really starting to kind of shine. You see Will Patterson out there again, kind of shaking that arm, trying to keep it loose. And Austin Koliskowski on the serve. Beavercreek trying to tie.
Markham with the back set. Haggerty on the right gets it through Buell, and it drops, and Moeller's lead is back to 2 with the Crusaders coming back on serve.
I think Buell got a fingertip on that one, and it just disrupted Koliskowski, who he's kind of pointing down. He got down on the floor, and there is a little perspiration, and that's real. I mean, there's some gamesmanship. That time the Buell went down trying to dig that one out, so cleaning up the floor. But do you maybe exaggerate a little more than?
Well, and you see the down official David Barnes down there making sure as well that this isn't just a matter of gamesmanship there, and it's not. The down officials coming out onto the floor, there's a legit potential safety issue there, and so they're going to make sure that's secured before things resume. The last thing you want is any kind of injury. Brown off the play. Culpepper again. He has been winning that battle against Will Patterson on the front line.
Bump set spike. And when you got Josh Culpepper, West Player of the Year up front, makes it a little bit easier.
Howard Towers now comes in. And
well, the serve receive has been huge for Beavercreek all match long. It's going to be very important now for Moeller if they want to try to just maintain that 1-point lead.
50-50. Markham taps it back. Buell can't quite organize it.
Well, Moeller seemed out of sorts on that one just to get that one over, and Patterson made something out of nothing. And I think that kind of disrupted what Beavercreek was trying to do, and that ball fell through. And
I thought Markham there was going to just go ahead and dump that himself. He found just enough space to back tap it to Patterson to put it away. Good effort by Buell, just couldn't control it. And now Brandon Wong on serve with Moeller 2 points away from leveling the match.
Well, there was a lot of congestion right in the middle there too for Patterson to get that swing off.
Brown to Towers in the middle, took something off. Not his best effort. Brenneker had to take a sidestep into that. Patel, good ball up to Brown. Here is Koliskowski from the back, rejected soundly by Brody Threm, and Moeller now has 3 set points, and Carol Bisek will use her second and final timeout. We're going to keep it right here while Beavercreek talks things over. Big play right there, I think, for Moeller to send a message to Beavercreek that it's not just Will Patterson who can challenge at the summit.
Well, that is such a reliable play for Beavercreek, too. That back row set down the middle seems to where they don't use it a lot, but when they do, more times than not, it is successful. So the fact that Moeller was able to defend that was a huge play for the Crusaders now. Like you said, they've got 3 set points here, and they're already down 1-0. And you kind of get this feeling Moeller was a little bit off early in that first set, and it took him a while to kind of get woken up. Beavercreek then was able to persevere 28-26 in that first set. And now it's Moeller that kind of has been more of the aggressor in his second set. Beavercreek hanging on, but yet they're not down and out yet either.
And I think if you're Moeller here, you want to close this out quickly. Yeah. You do not want to let Beavercreek hang around and save multiple set points here. I think this is a big point here for Brandon Wong on serve for Moeller to try and close out this first set. It is set point number 1 for the Crusaders.
And Lee Meyer is probably saying, just get the ball over the net, then we'll defend after that.
Brown going out to Culpepper. Threm got it. Brody Threm and Tyler Gesselbrock together. It is not Will Patterson who is the difference on the front line. Brody Threm, 2 big blocks to close out the second set, and Moeller only needs 1 opportunity to take set number 2, and we are level at 1 set apiece as the Crusaders win it 25-21. And while we've got a moment here during the set break here, we're going to have a...
This is something that is long deserved. And
yes.
Jason, you've been with me the last 2 years up here in Columbus, but ESP Media has been broadcasting for the last 12 years now outside of the pandemic 2020 year. And we are so happy to be a part of the OHSBVA at ESP Media, and a long-deserved recognition. Our executive producer, Rob Ebel, being recognized down on the floor right now.
Yeah, he will be receive a special honor from Matt Mahalik as he heads out right now. And there you see Rob right there in the blue shirt, and he will be honored for all of his contributions here at the OHS BVA. This is the 12th year of exclusive coverage here on ESP Media of the OHS BVA State Tournament. And without Rob, none of us are here in this position right here to bring all the sights and sound of this tournament to you folks who have been so gracious with your support over the years, not only of ESP Media, but of these student athletes as well throughout the state tournament. We will be back here in coverage here next year of the tournament, as it will be transitioned to an emerging sport in the OHSAA, but still, ESP Media will be here to carry coverage of the state tournament a year from now. And nevertheless, a great honor here for Rob, and well-deserved. And just cannot say enough good things about Rob Ebel and the things he does to put us in this position, but the coverage of these student athletes across the board, across all sports in the state of Ohio, to bring these kids the spotlight that they so richly deserve.
My time goes back with Rob to my first OHS BVA tournament was when we were down in Hamilton, Ohio, at Hamilton High School all those years ago, and to see what the OHS BVA has become, I really feel that ESP Media and the partnership with the OHS BVA, these two have worked so well together that we've helped each other grow to the fact that, like you just mentioned, the OHS BVA will be kind of bowing out as the emerging sport of boys volleyball has grown to what will now be a sanctioned sport with the OHSAA.
And kudos to Matt Mihalik in his first year in the role as executive director of the OHS BVA to make the decision to facilitate the honor of Rob Ebel, the executive producer of ESP Media Productions.
Well, and during the course of the day, and we won't always have it on screen, but there are going to be several people that have been very instrumental over the years in the OHS BVA who have moved on to other things that are going to be recognized. Former Alter coach Craig Erford is going to be recognized later on today. And it's been really a privilege to be a part of the OHS BVA, to watch what they've become.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see how this sport is going to continue to grow. Boys volleyball is a fantastic sport, and I think a lot of young athletes now in the middle school, even the grade school ages, are starting to learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the definition of an emerging sport. It is growing by leaps and bounds at the high school level. And so
we hope it continues to grow.
And it's going to. And you're seeing a lot more kids become specialists just in volleyball.
Yep.
Far fewer multi-sport athletes as the game has grown and developed.
And amazing athletes are what we're seeing.
No doubt. Absolutely. With that, set 3 begins with Beavercreek on serve. The match tied at 1 set apiece. And the Beavs will have an opportunity to get the first point here. It is Austin Koliskowski. And that was touched up top by Threm, Markham in the area. And so Beavercreek starts off the third with the opening score.
So now it's essentially a 3-set match is what this becomes now, tied up at 1 apiece. And that first point, like the beginning of the match, was so very, very important. And Beavercreek able to get that first point through off the serve of Stagel.
Wide serve, targeting Haggerty. His pass across, not the best. Brown goes over with the second, and he's going to be called for a double.
Well, you hate to see that because Beavercreek was kind of in scramble mode on that one, and that looked like it was a pretty good play to get it over, but the double called on that one. The Moeller getting their first serve now in this third set from Brody Threm.
1-1 our score, and Threm is on serve. 2 big blocks to close out the second set. Buell in middle. That ball stabbed right forward. Good effort by Reneker, but just could not be handled up front to send it over. And now Beavercreek with a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, Patterson tried to redeflect just to get that one over the top and couldn't do so. So we traded serves here in the early going.
That's been the case throughout this semifinal. Colin Brown gets the ace as another one crawls over the tape and dies at the feet of Nate Reneker. An ace for the junior Colin Brown. Honorable mention All-State. 3 of the first 4 to the Beavs. Markham with a chase, and Haggerty gets a run into one. Not much on it. Brown with the back set to Skousen. He's been going with the soft ones a lot on that far side. Buell in the middle misses it, trying to avoid Patterson and cut it way too much.
Yeah, and I think Moeller got themselves a break as well. Will Patterson made a play on that ball that he probably should have let go to his player behind him, Brandon Wong. Sent it over on one, but Beavercreek not able to take advantage. I think you're right, Will Patterson kind of affecting that play in the middle.
Culpepper, good serve receive. Kolaskowski there. A whistle is blown, and I believe we have a net violation at the Summit called against Moeller, and they got Ben Haggerty for it, and so Beavercreek takes it and now has a 4-2 lead.
Now Moeller, similar to their match yesterday against Liberty in that third and fourth set where they allowed Liberty to get back into it, kind of with their own worst enemies, and a lot of these points Moeller has given away.
Oh, Patterson gets one there. Kolaskowski in self-preservation mode, trying to do what he could, and he's taking an extra moment here to kind of gather himself once again. And with that, perspiration on the floor, and they'll clean that up to make sure there's no safety issue. And Jim Malott, the line judge, making sure that gets cleaned up.
Get a big thanks to the folks here at Pickerington Central High School, hosting for the second straight year.
They've been wonderful.
They have been outstanding to work with.
Everything organized to the highest level. They've been nothing but gracious to our crew in getting everything set up and organized and getting us anything and everything we need. The athletic training staff here doing a great job taking care of any potential situations. Culpepper's shoulder is just fine as he puts that one away. And they've gone to him sporadically through this match, which has caught me by surprise. But more often than not, when he has gotten that opportunity, particularly on this left side, he has delivered. We've not seen him much on the right, but on the left, he has been strong.
Well, that's where he's most strong, on the left side. And when they get that bump set spike to him, I'd say it's above 90% success rate.
Good dig in the back by Dollard. Reneker with the load up, and Brown with the stab with the right hand. Straight in the air. This will be playable for Culpepper, but a free one for Moeller. Reneker cross court, caught the antenna.
And again, electing not to do that quick set inside to Will Patterson, where you talk about 90% success rate. That's a play that works so very, very well.
I'm noticing here, too, as we have another stoppage for perspiration on the floor. The left front hitters from Moeller are going especially wide and almost riding that line with that antenna every time. I'm surprised that Lee Meyer and the coaching staff have not told those guys out on that left side, taking maybe a half step inwards here, not even flirting with the antenna. You want to get out there, but they are out there well wide of that antenna. It's a tough angle to cut.
Yeah, and especially if the serve's a little bit tight on the net as well, then you're really flirting with it. But you like the angle because then you can really, really cut it sharp, and it makes it tougher to return if you can get it through a block.
Wong plays it off to the side, and Reneker an awkward step into that and never gets it over.
Lee Meyer's going to take a timeout.
Initial serve receive, throws that off, and Beavercreek, similar to the first set, taking advantage of Moeller miscues. The Beavs have 7 of the first 10 in this pivotal third set. Beavercreek 7, Moeller 3 in the third set. Patterson, a little awkward that time. Don't normally see him have a soft one go over. Skousen with the left, blocked by Patterson, but a reload for Beavercreek. Culpepper blocked by Gesselbrock that time. Patterson couldn't get there, but the sophomore Tyler Gesselbrock with a big block.
We were just talking about that's a 90% success rate when you go to that play on that left side for Culpepper. That was well defended, and Gesselbrock needed that one personally, like to continue momentum and kind of break some of the service errors just in general Moeller's had.
Culpepper this side, beautiful. All set up by a fantastic serve receive by Akila Patel. Absolutely perfect to pass up to Brown.
Yeah, and that time a little slow to get over Brody Thrim, and all alone that time Gesselbrock not able to duplicate what he did the play before.
Brody Thrim on the front line now. Will Patterson out as Tim Parson goes to serve for Beavercreek as they've doubled up Moeller at 8-4. Long floater. Dollard has to play it off to the side, forcing Markham to scramble. And now Reneker back by the 1 meter line, just misses wide.
Well, I think Patel let that one go by because she was getting coached up there by Josh Culpepper on the floor yelling out. So she just kind of ducked back down, although she's only 5'3", didn't have to duck a whole lot, but let that one go by, and smart play.
Smart play from a very smart young woman.
There's no doubt about that.
Threm gets it through as Towers gets called for a lift.
Well, he initially got a piece of that one, but it fell right back in front of him, and he just had to react real quickly, and the instinct was just to throw the hand out there, but gets called for the lift and the service break. Right back to Moeller it goes.
And Gesselbrock to try and bring his team close.
See if Gesselbrock got any.
Boy, that was a wicked cut. on that serve, and it doesn't matter anyway as Culpepper finishes. And you see Beavercreek starting to feed him more as this set goes along.
Well, and this is setting up like it did in the first set as well. Beavercreek's serve return has been outstanding. Moeller's not getting any service runs at all. As we now see Culpepper go back to serve. He is very accurate on his serves.
Kolaskowski wins a 50-50 against Ben Markham.
And that won't go down as an ace, but essentially it was, because it was hard to return, it was hard to handle, and it was an overhit.
The thing I love looking at the Beavercreek sideline was Carol Bisek doing the muscle flex up front towards her young man at the front line. You can tell how much she's enjoying it. Boy, that was a rocket from Culpepper.
Well, there's my jinx on him. I apologize to Culpepper and
Miss Long
talking about the accuracy of his serve, but man, that thing is a missile. And sometimes you might get a touch on that one just because you have to react so quick, you don't have time to register whether or not it's going to go long or not.
Nate Reneker has been much more active and effective than he was in the quarterfinal against Olentangy Liberty on serve. Culpepper, Brandon Wong does what he can on those. He is the most unafraid libero I've seen in this tournament, but that one just too much from Culpepper.
Well, and that's Culpepper down the pipe from the back row attack, and we're talking about that one now. More times than not, that's a successful play when they dial it up for Beavercreek, and it's either going to be Culpepper or Kolaskowski with that play, and Culpepper converts.
Right now, Beavercreek kind of going in a 2-for-1 type of pattern. It's built the lead out to 6. Here is Haggerty. Stagel with a great dig. Culpepper won't get much on this, put some top spin on it. Markham sets it up to Threm in the middle. He has been good, but not that opportunity.
Didn't even get it over that time, and he had Luke Buell in his face anyway.
And Lee Meyer talking with his assistants about something, and I don't think he's going to use his second timeout just yet with the deficit at 7, but if this run from Stagel continues, he may have to go that route. Kesselbrock had to wait on it, and again goes long.
This just feels like the first set all over again. Like we're watching it again. Moeller making the mistakes. Beavercreek doing just what they need to do, not making the mistakes, getting their serves in.
The animation on Lee Meyer's face continues to mount. He is not normally a guy who gets that fired up. Very stoic. Stagel with the dig. It's going back over, and Haggerty does the right thing there. I think Brandon Wong also helped him to call it off.
Well, and that's where you need the teamwork to let people know, because sometimes the energy, you might see a player want to try to come back on that overhit and slam it right back down and lose sight of where you're at on the floor. Smart play there by Haggerty, but more so Brandon Wong to communicate.
Ben Markham runs the offense, but make no mistake about it on the Moeller side. It is Brandon Wong's show to call. Culpepper from the back. Kesselbrock in self-preservation at least makes it playable, and Moeller will not be able to get it over as a miss-hit from Nate Reneker, and the errors continue to mount for the Crusaders.
They get the
15-7 lead for Beavercreek.
And that's frustrating for Lee Meyer and Moeller, because you get the dig on a great swing from Culpepper, and then you still can't get it back over.
That's a simple play over from Reneker as well, and he just completely played it off the left wrist instead of getting his hands together, but a point given back as Brown misses long.
Well, you were saying, though, it's 2-1 on points because Beavercreek's been so good on the return. Right now with a 7-point lead at 15-8.
This is Ben Markham to serve, waiting for his assignment from Lee Meyer on where to take this serve. They'll go at Culpepper. That's normally been the target. Skousen may have gotten away with a push. Reneker from the back, was that tipped? Yes, it was.
Right. That might be unofficially, and I'm not 100% sure, that might have been the first service point Moeller's had here in the second set. Everything has been off of the breaks of the serve from Beavercreek. Moeller needs a run right now if they want to get back into this one.
Very few and far between. Not the best service there from Kolaskowski, but Brown still makes it playable, and Wong will set it up here, and boy, what a strike from Gesselbrock. Perfect lead pass from Brandon Wong, and Gesselbrock got a perfect angle on that strike.
That's 2 points off the serve now for Moeller, and I think if you get one more, and even though right now it's a 5-point lead, Carol Bisek could think about a timeout, more so just to disrupt the serve of Markham.
Brown with the back set. Kolaskowski has it blocked by Haggerty. Not the best pass there from Brown. Kolaskowski had to take just an added step to his right, and that let Haggerty get in position. And Carol Bisek telling her team, just calm down, make the fundamental plays. Moeller's got it down to 4.
Yep, 3 straight service points.
Cut the deficit in half. It was 8. Brown with the scramble. Culpepper dumps it through. Moeller can get closer. Gesselbrock misses wide.
Well, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. The sets are so wide and outside. That was another case of that one. And Gesselbrock trying to go down the line if he shoots it straight down the line, he's already hitting from outside the boundary. It makes it hard to kind of pull it back in, if that's your thought process.
Koloskowski to play it, to try and take the momentum back. His team leading by 5. Markham to Patterson, too far away from the net, and he fires it into the net. He was starting there near the 1 meter line. We normally see him cut that distance in half.
Well, he's usually one step away from the net when he's letting that one fly. And
I think Lee Meyer just talked to one of his assistants, contemplating a timeout, and I think the assistant recommended him maybe one more here, and they'll end up getting away with it here as Koloskowski misses long.
Now it'll be whether or not Beavercreek can get the break here quickly. But as Dollard will come in.
Trading points is just fine for the Beavs right now with a 5-point lead.
And only once has Moeller had a service run, and it was their last serve opportunity. So see what Dollard can do.
I think Moeller's been hoping to get more from Jack Dollard on the serve, and there's a response immediately as Stagel couldn't handle it. Stagel has been up and down with his serve receives here today. When he's been on, he has been fantastic, but when he has not caught it clean, it has virtually been unplayable, and Moeller once again within 4. Brown with the back set to Skousen, and caught the back corner. Great placement there by Craig Skousen. The pass just behind the head a little bit, but those long arms allow the southpaw to find room, and Beavercreek again stems the tide.
Well, Dollard had stepped up a little bit, and we're going to see a timeout for Moeller. Dollard had stepped up too far, and that one was just dropped right over on a dime.
Beavercreek 18, Moeller 13. The Beavs look to add to their lead on the other side of the Moeller timeout. Beavercreek 18, Moeller 13 here in the third. And Greg, to your point, we were talking about a few moments ago, kind of a similar story as what we saw in the first set. A lot of Moeller errors, and Beavercreek just playing solid on their end.
And not making the mistakes. At least not matching the mistakes that Moeller is. And sometimes that can happen if teams trade errors back and forth and they kind of even themselves out. Right now it's probably 2-1 errors of giving points away.
And Beavercreek also not letting mistakes compound and pile up the way Moeller has.
Good point.
It's been one and done in that area for Beavercreek throughout. And Markham just missed on the set there. That was going to Patterson on the quick one. And another unforced error. And that's the thing. Beavercreek is not forcing a lot of these from Moeller. It's just been Moeller being sloppy.
And it was the same thing in the Liberty match yesterday. It was just shooting themselves in the foot. Their own worst enemy.
Buell on serve. Not much clearance, but still gets the job done. Gesselbrock from distance. Nice dig from Colin Brown. Culpepper will get in position to get something on this. It's going to go back over. Not the best dump attempt by Skousen. It sets up Gesselbrock. Buell is there. Culpepper through the wall, but playable to Wong. Markham. Gesselbrock again, and diving attempt. It'll get over, but Patterson, using that wingspan, gets the point back for Moeller. Great point on each side.
And we were talking about the 2-1 errors. And not to be critical of Moeller because they have so much talent out there that when sometimes they're inside their own heads not playing well, mark that point down. If they can come back in this set, it's going to be because of that point right there. Great scramble point for the Crusaders. And really, Renneker out on that sideline diving to kind of get an awkward cross that came from the Beavercreek side just to tap that one back up and give his team a chance to rally to get that point.
But Moeller has not been able to sustain serve to try and cut the gap here throughout this set. Renneker gets this one over, and Beavercreek will have a chance to stop the serve once again. Here is Skousen. He's not had many clean attempts. He won't get one here. 50-50. And contact will be made at the net. It's going to be called against Moeller. Boy, they're going to get Renneker here. You could have easily gotten Colin Brown on the Beavercreek side for it, too.
I think Lee Meyer over there trying to talk right now with David Barnes about that maybe both players made contact.
I think they did. I think they absolutely both made contact there, but David Barnes was in perfect position. And Lee Meyer also trying to say that Beavercreek reached over the top on that 50-50 ball.
David Barnes looking over to Mike Mers. Can there be an overturn? I think they're communicating through radio with each other.
Yes, they have headsets on.
They could potentially just replay that point.
We're still waiting to see what the decision is going to be here. And double thumbs up here.
Oh, so and they are going to replay the point.
And so it's 19-14 in favor of Beavercreek. And I think Lee Meyer still trying to argue his case, and I think right now for him, replaying the points, the best you could ask for.
Yeah, take the win while you can.
He's pleading his case here, and I almost wonder in sometimes situations like this, coaches will push the issue and maybe pick up a yellow card just to see if they can, send a message and also get their team fired up. Yeah, slapping of the clipboard as Lee Meyer looks up at the official, Mike Mers. We will replay the point. I think it's a good decision by the officials to just replay it. Boy, what a dig from Markham, and Gesselbrock gets it through, and Lee Meyer extra fired up.
That could be the ball doesn't lie kind of a point right there.
And the Moeller minds, it certainly is.
And I want to reiterate, the officials, I think, made the right call for that play. I'm not sure why Lee Meyer was extra upset, but the ball still didn't lie.
Patel couldn't get it as it just caught the line off the block from Threm. Brody Threm has really come on defensively here since the late stages of the second set, and Beavercreek will spend a timeout. Moeller coming back once again to find themselves down 3 and on serve. The intensity picking up on the Moeller sideline here. I think they understand this is a critical point in the match, and they've got to find a way to get themselves back in to this set and try and threaten Beavercreek and not let the Beavs run away and go ahead 2-1.
And I think Lee Meyer was kind of pulling his Carol Bisek imitation in the sense of little Jedi mind tricks there, but we're trying to work on his own team, not the other team at this point, because his team has made so many errors themselves.
And also to that point, he does not have a timeout to use, so that extra delay in talking to the officials kind of slowed the action down too. Brandon Wong on serve. Moeller trying to get back within 2. Culpepper, when you need an answer, there is 14 in black. Every time Moeller has tried to get a service run going, Beavercreek has had an answer here in this third set.
And that was pure execution that time. Brandon Wong got the ball over. A lot of times you'll see a serve into the net. That didn't happen. Wong has done very good to get the ball out of the timeout over the net, but Beavercreek's been very good to respond on their side to execute and get the point.
20-16 in favor of Beavercreek, and Tim Parson to play it in. Gesselbrock, long, trying to go to that far back corner and missed.
Gesselbrock was trying to get the touch call, but there was none. There was more wishful thinking there, and that comes down to execution. Beavercreek executed on their serve receive. Moeller did not.
And I think Lee Meyer and his staff realizing their team is in serious trouble. Not the best serve receive. Reneker cross court. Culpepper in perfect position. 50-50 ball. And this time it is won by Colin Brown of Beavercreek. And that brings the Beaver fans to their feet.
Yeah, that was Colin Brown versus Brody Threm. And Ben Markham trying to get in there as well. And that ball just a little bit more on the Beavercreek side that gave Colin Brown the advantage to push and muscle it over.
And I love the fact that Brown and Threm kind of having a smile and a brief chat with each other saying, hey, Threm saying, yeah, you got me that time. I'll get you back the next time.
That's what I would have gone to Threm right there.
These two teams know each other so well. These players know each other so well. There's Culpepper. Great job by Markham to keep this ball alive. Reneker not able to do anything with it. Koliskowski from the back.
Ooh, tight.
Reneker and right past Patel. Great effort by Patel, but Reneker well too much mustard on that strike.
Well, and a very great set by Ben Markham. Digging that one. It was a deep pass on the net. He had to kind of tightrope right near the net just to get that set back to give Reneker the opportunity to go across for the point.
22-17, Beavercreek in the lead in this all-important third set. It's a best of 3 from this point on. Gesselbrock, what a wicked one Culpepper handles.
Missed.
And just missed. Continues to be good with his serve receive, but just a hair too long on the kill attempt.
And he was pretty much receiving the type of serve that he dials up. So that was interesting to watch and almost able to put that one away.
Koliskowski handles this. Towers took a little off. Threm keeps it up. Reneker stepping in. Cross court. Culpepper with the dive. Moeller wanting a lift from Brown. Won't get it. Blocked up front. Beavercreek reloads. Koliskowski from the back and finds space past Reneker.
Josh Culpepper doing a nice, smart play. He was tight roping on the sideline, making sure that ball was going to be in. It was. Put it back with a nice pass in the middle to set up that set that Austin Koliskowski kills down. Now 2 points away from this third set.
And Josh Culpepper stepping back to serve. Again, as is his routine, spins the ball on the finger, down to the hand. And now the missile. That ball's going back over, and Towers, a little bit of youthful exuberance there, trying to do too much, and the sophomore put it into the net.
Sometimes you're better served just to pass that one straight up, try to set it up. But yeah, youthful enthusiasm, and Towers at 6'3", he's flushed down 71 kills.
He's going to be an anchor of this program going forward into the future. Brown to Culpepper from the back, blocked by Threm. Koliskowski over to Wong.
Another tight set.
Ooh. Haggerty off the tape, makes it playable. The back set, an awkward one from Markham to Gesselbrock. That's not on Gesselbrock. No. That was not a good set from Markham, and it puts Beavercreek in position with 5 set points.
Akila Patel made a nice play on that one too. She got one off a block that came right back down. She was in position to help set that up, keep it alive for Beavercreek as they end up persevering.
And Ben Markham has not been as crisp as he has been in games past, even yesterday in this one. That left Gesselbrock hanging out to dry. It is one of potentially 5 set point opportunities for Beavercreek. Haggerty handles the first to Markham, back to Haggerty. Stagel there. Koliskowski. This is going to go up off ceiling beams, but Markham in position for Wong's third. Brown out to Koliskowski. Still alive off of a banner up ahead. Ben Haggerty goes wide into the tape, and the set is over, and Beavercreek just keeps plugging away, and they continue to take advantage of Moeller mistakes, and the Beavers are now 1 set away from the championship match. They take set 3 from 25-19 to go ahead 2-1 in this semifinal. The defending state champion Moeller Crusaders now on the brink of elimination in the semifinal as Beavercreek has moved ahead 2-1 after a 25-19 win in set number 3. And Greg, it's just a matter by and large with Moeller, they've been their own worst enemy here today. Beavercreek's play has been solid, make no mistake about that, but just too many unforced errors from the Crusaders, and it's put them in a hole.
It's coming down to execution at this point. You have to execute. And again, Moeller's got so much talent out there. They've got so many different players that can do so many different things that right now not getting what has gotten them to this point in a 21-6 record to this point. And they're a perennial team every year to make it to the finals. In fact, you mentioned a couple of different times of the 15 times they've been in the state championship. That's out of 18 times just making it to state. So 15 of 18 times they've made it all the way to the finals, including 9 state championships. But they've made it every year since 2017 outside of 2020, which doesn't count for anything.
Moeller's looking for their 4th straight appearance in the final, but now they've got to come back and win this 4th set and the 5th.
Lift.
They'll have the first
double.
One here. Yes, Brown call for double.
The first point was going to be so important, but Beavercreek gave that one away, and you just mentioned it. They've played very well by and large, haven't given many points away on unforced errors. There was one right there.
Brody Threm on serve. He played the bulk of the 3rd set up front with Will Patterson still nursing that right shoulder.
Patterson out there right now, though.
Gesselbrock plays it soft over. Brown's going to have to scramble. That first play from Steigel, not a good one. Somehow he found the ball over to Culpepper. That is a great play from Colin Brown to set up Culpepper in the back.
Well, the Beavercreek fans thought there was a double on the Moeller side before that even got to that point, but those banners nearly helped Moeller on now, and that ball kind of got tangled up in the banners here at Pickerington Central and slowed the ball from going further away from the floor, the court, but still too deep for the Crusaders to track down. So that was a good answer by Beavercreek on that serve.
Haggerty, nice cross court. Good angle on that cut from Ben Haggerty.
And he's been missing that one. He's not been hitting that shot. Too many times he's been dumping it a lot further, but that was a tight cut right to the sideline, and a good break of serve for the Crusaders as Ben Markham back to serve.
2-1 in favor of Moeller. Around with the one-handed tap, and Buell able to find space.
Nice play, Luke Buell, and for Luke Buell. We talked about his brother Noah on the sideline. I think I spoke yesterday and said he was player of the year. He wasn't, but he was darn good. I also want to make mention Chase Baxter, a former player for Carol Bisek, also one of the assistant coaches, like J.J. Beckelheimer on the Moeller side. So cool to see some of the former players now coming back and helping their programs.
Haggerty couldn't get that one down. Skousen on that far side. Gesselbrock makes the block.
Well, here we go with some execution of the plays. And Moeller right now are starting to execute a few of their plays. Not that was a bad play on the Beavercreek side, but that's what Moeller can do with those big arms that range up front.
Sustainability has been the question mark, though, for the Crusaders throughout. They did raise their level of play in set 2 after dropping the first set to win that second set. They're trying to do the same here to keep their season alive in the 4th.
Jack Dollard sharing the spot with Ben Haggerty in serving.
Patterson, cross court, and Stagel couldn't get it. One of the few times you've seen Patterson take a wider approach and cut the ball.
Yeah, he had a good angle on that one. He was kind of angled looking towards the sideline instead of going straight down, and that kind of messes with the defense of Beavercreek.
Skousen had to run up, not a good pass from Brown. It's going to set Moeller up with a freebie, and they'll go back to Patterson the way of Stagel, but Patterson misses.
Well, he tried the same exact play. Again, he was angled towards the sideline, but that time cut it over. And
I'm surprised he didn't work that up the middle that time instead of trying to cut it wide.
He is not hiding the fact that he's in discomfort with that shoulder.
He's not even close to 100% with that right shoulder. Buell to serve. Beavercreek looking for the tie. Nate Reneker has other ideas.
Well, here we go again with execution. Moeller was missing those a lot. Even when they won the second set, they weren't as crisp. These plays right now have been a lot more crisp. And
Reneker has helped to pick up the slack where Patterson has not been able to be effective. That's going to be a double called or a lift. Take your pick there. They'll get Brown for the double.
Yeah.
Serve, receive, let him into the net and put him in that awkward position. And now Moeller's gotten some separation with a lead of 3.
Well, they've got 3 service points. Beavercreek has not gotten a point off serve thus far. That's the difference.
Skousen finds some space. That might have gotten a fingertip of Threm, but in either case, found an opening in the hole in the middle of the Moeller defense.
And it was a little off speed as well, so that messes up the timing of the block scheme Moeller throwing up. So good answer by Beavercreek on the service break. In the serve, Tim Parson.
Threm has been fantastic in the middle, offensively and defensively for Moeller, and he gets the serve back for Tyler Gesselbrock.
It seems like that play is only reserved for Will Patterson. They don't dial it up with any other player, it seems like, for the most part, or at least very often. That time, though, they put it there and able to convert right down the pipe. Another service break. The Crusaders have not allowed Beavercreek to get a point off serve thus far in this 4th set.
Threm and Colin Brown continue to have a running conversation with each other. These young men are all familiar with each other. Moeller out of the GCL South and Beavercreek out of the G-Walk. They know each other. They play against each other. They play club. So they all know each other very, very well. And Gesselbrock with another strike that goes long.
It's really the first error of this 4th set by the Crusaders, and I think Gesselbrock coming off that kind of extended delay while they were cleaning some moisture off the floor. A little bit frustrated with himself. And now back to serve the big serve, Josh Culpepper.
This is going over, and Towers again trying to push it through. Couldn't get it. Culpepper reloads. What a stab with the left hand to keep it alive. Brown sets up Towers. He gets a full wind up. It's kept alive off the tape. Reneker to the back line. Brown will reload. Not the best pass to Kolaskowski, and he sets it wide.
Kolaskowski, it was a tough set, and he just tried to dump it over, but he kind of worked his way to the sideline when he was running up for the kill attempt. Carol Bisek thought there was a double earlier in the point, had her hands high in the air, trying to get the call, did not get it, and was even having a conversation with David Barnes.
And she's starting to pick up her intensity with her motions as well. Understanding she's got the opportunity here. Kolaskowski.
Just long.
Well, it was tipped at the net.
Oh, there was a touch. Yep, it was. Back judge Jim Malott with the touch call. A point to Beavercreek.
No, I made mention of it before, but I cannot recall throughout day one and here into day two of this tournament that Jim Malott has missed a single call from his line judge spot. Stagel with the serve. Wong pops it up. Threm from distance. Kolaskowski blocked by Markham, but not within the lines of play, and so Beavercreek within one.
And the first points for the Beavs off the serve have brought them to within one.
Good strike from Ben Haggerty out on the wide side.
He's starting to get a little bit more confident on that swing now on that outside, as Will Patterson will come back in the rotation around, and back to serve will be Brody Threm. But if you can get confident Ben Haggerty out there, he's a tough one to defend for Moeller.
He has taken that step in away from the antenna closer into the lines of play, and it's helping him out. Culpepper from the back through the hands of Ben Haggerty.
They just dial up that play, and maybe 90% was a little high on the success rate of that play, but I'll tell you what, it works more times than not, that's for sure.
One of the many players we've seen in this tournament that just glides effortlessly from the back. Colin Brown to serve. Haggerty once again really leaping from that sideline and not out towards the antenna, and it's opening things up for him, and he's starting to build that confidence. Moeller 10, Beavercreek 8.
Makes it so hard to defend for any team if he can get on. And I think part of this has been a confidence problem because there's been so many errors by Moeller. If you can get them to play confidently, boy, they're tough. Whoa, there's an ace.
Stagel wasn't ready for it. And I think Buell might have crossed in front of him and disrupted his line of vision, but Stagel looked like he was not prepared for that. And so it's a gift point for Moeller, and the Crusaders lead by 3.
That flat serve just died down, too. Yeah, no rotation on the ball. Wow.
Culpepper stepped in front that time. Here's Kolaskowski, gets the job done off the fingertips of Patterson.
That one took a long cross after Patterson got hands on it, and I don't know if Tyler Gesselbrock didn't see the ball coming his way, but he didn't even make an effort to try and at least redirect the ball back towards the court. So the point back over to Beavercreek.
Gesselbrock from the left, and a violation called at the net against Beavercreek, and it's Craig Skousen that's called.
Yeah, Skousen trying to get in the way of that set to the outside, and as he was coming back around, contact going up.
That's a couple of times now in this set that Beavercreek has been called for that very same thing and given Moeller a few freebies. Brown quickly to Buell in the middle. Perfect set, and Buell delivers.
And doing it with Will Patterson right there in the middle on the other side, too. So
I don't see Will Patterson going up with much confidence right now because of that shoulder.
That makes Moeller a little bit of a different team as well. If you don't have that big rangy block wall up that can maybe redirect a shot.
Didn't get all of that one by any means, but you're so used to him getting such velocity on the ball that it fooled Luke Buell.
Lee Meyer meeting Patterson as he comes out in the rotation, trying to make sure, is he okay, or telling him, hey, son, take a full swing on that one.
I think Moeller might want to think about just going to Brody, relying on Brody Threm through the front here, as Kolaskowski has issues with the footwork. And Brandon Wong with the ace, and it's a 4-point Moeller lead, and now we'll get some perspiration cleaned up on the floor after Kolaskowski took a stumble.
Kolaskowski must be just like sweating like nobody's business, because anytime he hits the floor, we have to clean it up.
He is into this match for sure.
He's just got a smile on his face as he's an outstanding player. As a junior, he'll be back next year leading things off. Honorable mention West Region. Ooh. Threm couldn't slow that one down off a massive swing from Culpepper. Wish we had success rates on some of those attempts for Kolaskowski, because his swings are so crisp and so consistent. He just doesn't miss much at all. Tim Parsons serving now.
Markham, nice back tap to Threm, and it just crawls over to the Beavercreek side. Culpepper to Gesselbrock. Boy, what a strike there from the sophomore. Had to step into that one off to his right and cut it perfectly.
There's contact with the net anyway, but that was a great swing, and that's going to do wonders for Gesselbrock's confidence. Talked about Haggerty's confidence over on that left side. If you can get the combination of Gesselbrock on the right and Haggerty on the left, maybe without a completely healthy Patterson in the middle.
Markham trying to poke that wide. Parson was there. Culpepper, too long.
I think that was the only play Markham had, too. I think the pass was too tight to the net for him to really set that one. So instead of trying to bump it back, he just pushed it deep, and Beavercreek couldn't handle that one. A 5-point lead now for Moeller here in the fourth set.
16-11 in favor of the Crusaders, and Tyler Gesselbrock starting to round into form in this third set. Culpepper cross court. Wong will at least make it alive to play. Culpepper with a miss and right at Lee Meyer, and they kind of smile one another. Culpepper, of course, saying my bad. Lee Meyer saying no problem, especially because Lee Meyer's team has a 6-point lead, and Beavercreek will call for time in this fourth set. Moeller has to win and in control. Moeller asserting itself here in this fourth set. The defending state champions have to win this one to keep its season alive, to try and get back to another state final, leading Beavercreek in this fourth set 17-11. We're starting to see the talent round into form from Moeller on their side, and Beavercreek struggling to match it at the moment.
The talent has been there for Moeller. It was just the execution wasn't really doing what it needed to do. Moeller now is kind of with their backs against the wall, down 2-1, starting to show that Beavercreek needs to answer.
Brown trying to dump over his head and
went out.
Just wide.
That was a great play by Brown at the net. It just went wide for him. That was unfortunate.
He pulled that off once against Hudson in the quarterfinal, but did not miss by much there. It's a 7-point Moeller lead.
Look at the serve as well from Gesselbrock.
Yeah, he's starting to play with some confidence after some early miscues. Deflected up front and through, and everything going Moeller's way now in set 4. You knew this program was going to rise to the occasion, and Carol Bisek is going to quickly take her second and final timeout as this set is getting away from the Beavers, and Moeller getting ever so closer to sending us to a fifth set. Tyler Gesselbrock has come to life here in this fourth set, getting it done offensively and defensively, and now on a serve run with his pushes team's lead to 8, and that ball just went long off the back line. He's been missing a lot of them early, well long. That one missed by an inch or two.
Keela Patel had no chance of returning that one anyway. That was just, it was either going to be in or out. There was no touch on that one regardless.
It'll put Josh Culpepper on serve, and now Beavercreek all of a sudden needs a run out of their all-state performer.
He's a good one to do it.
Gesselbrock does not care.
He goes at Culpepper, too, on that one. Culpepper's pretty solid back there as a digger. When he does need to rotate back there, he had 226 digs in the season, so he's pretty darn good on the back line as well.
I've been impressed by the resolve of Tyler Gesselbrock after early struggles bad in the first 2 sets. He's slowly rounded into form and stuck with his process.
I think him and Ben Haggerty both.
Blocked by Haggerty. There he is. Great adjustment from Lee Meyer, moving Haggerty to just a frontline player here today and subbing him out for Jack Dollard. And Haggerty's confidence is growing as well. And Moeller running away here in the fourth, leading now 21-12.
And you make such a good point because it takes his mind off of needing to have to worry about serving. Got it.
Haggerty again.
Well, Gesselbrock and Haggerty are the 2 reasons that Moeller not only are going to get a chance, it looks like, to put this to a 5th set.
And it looks like you can see Carol Bisek not doing a lot of coaching at this point. She already knows this set is, for all intents and purposes, over.
Yep.
And we're headed to a 5th. She just wants to keep her team's confidence level where she wants it as we're on the verge of going to the 5th.
Can't drop his shoulders at this point.
No. Koliskowski, he has been quiet today, especially on the front line, and sends that one nearly out of the gymnasium. And Moeller has really turned on the afterburners.
Well, Moeller seems to play their best ball when their back is against the wall. If they don't come out fast and put a team away, it's like they need to be challenged.
Patel couldn't get that. It was in play anyway, and now, based on the first 3 sets, you wouldn't have imagined this. Moeller with a dozen set points. Nate Reneker to send us to a 5th set. Culpepper into the tape, and we will go the distance as Moeller, with its back against the wall, takes Beavercreek behind the woodshed in set 4, winning at 25-12. This semifinal will need a 5th and deciding set on the other side of this timeout. For the 3rd straight game in this state tournament, and going back to the regionals, Moeller will need 5 sets to try to advance. The Crusaders 3-1 in 5 setters on the season. This will be the 3rd venture to the 5th set on the year for Beavercreek. They won their previous 2. Beavercreek will have the first serve. It'll be Nick Stagel in hand with the serve in this 5th set. The winner advances to the state championship later today to take on either Elder or Centerville. And Stagel into the tape.
That was painful to watch. That you did not want to see. You mentioned one of those 2-0 record for Beavercreek in 5 setters. One of those was against Baden, who only had 2 losses all year long. They will be playing for the Division II state championship sometime after 2 o'clock.
A little tightness from Stagel on that serve, maybe some nerves creeping in to boot. Buell blocked by Patterson. Brown sets it back to Koliskowski. Off the ceiling beam twice. Boy, what a dive from Gesselbrock, but won't be playable. It played ping pong action with the beams above the floor here, and Gesselbrock, try as he might, just couldn't put it in a playable position, and we're tied at 1.
He laid out, and it was a little slow to get up on that one. That one, like you said, kind of ping ponged around up there off the rafters, hit 2 or 3 times. The adjustment that Gesselbrock had to make to get to that.
Patterson from distance. Stagel hits the deck, but keeps it playable for Josh Culpepper. What a play from Nick Stagel. Took it off the chest, hit the deck, but perfectly over to Colin Brown, and Culpepper finishes. Patterson trying to grind it out and getting an earful from Lee Meyer. Haggerty blocked but out.
The team's just trading serves right now. Ben Markham back to serve now for Moeller, tied up 2-2 in a sprint to 15 in the 5th and final set. Ooh.
Culpepper across, dug out by Reneker. Here's Haggerty, finds the back corner, or at least tried to, and the officials will say it was touched at the net by Beavercreek. A late call here as Mike Mers and David Barnes have a discussion.
I don't know if they called it a touch or if it was overruled. I think it was an overrule by the up ref, Mike Mers, and saying that ball was in. Carol Bisek arguing now, or at least trying to plead her point with David Barnes, but it was an overturn. It looked like it might have been in.
3-2 in favor of Moeller.
Yeah, it was an overrule.
Culpepper has to wait and find space. Gesselbrock slid forward and it vacated the back corner, and Culpepper placed it perfectly.
And instead of going for the hard slam like he normally will do most of the time, that time just a smart vision play. As again, we trade serves 3-3, and back to serve now, Austin Koliskowski.
Markham sky high, Patterson calling for it, but again too far away from the net. And another instance where Patterson puts it in the net and the Beavers ahead.
He's got to be able to adjust to that though, and be able to recognize if he's going to be 3 steps off the net, that you're going to have to send it a little bit more deep instead of trying to cut it straight down.
Some tape and over for Koliskowski, and the lead is 2 for Beavercreek. Yep. And Lee Meyer just stoic. A small clap of the hands as if to say, we're fine. Unlucky break there for his team, and thus not really much you can do with it. Koliskowski cleanly over this time. Markham goes low, and Haggerty gets it through.
Yeah, working on the right side that time was Ben Haggerty.
And where would Moeller be right now without the play of Haggerty and Gesselbrock in these last two sets? Haggerty heads out, Jack Dollard heads in. That's been the sub pattern all day long for the Crusaders.
Dollard, 22 aces in the regular season.
He won't have one here, but Beavercreek reloads. Skousen had to wait on it and deflected and drops. Patterson got a fingertip. He has not been controlling those blocks very well at all.
No, they've been kind of scattered and not really sure where they're going to go, and Dollard gave it a good attempt trying to dig out, but unfortunate couple of plays here for Moeller, and not that these are necessarily errors on the Crusaders' part, but just some plays that haven't gone their way. And now a discussion. I don't know if Beavercreek got a rotation.
And trying to get Stagel out to bring Towers into the front line, and the substitution will be allowed by David Barnes. It'll bring Luke Buell on to serve. Beavercreek leading by 2 here in the 5th, and a race to 15.
And a warning for Beavercreek on a late substitution.
Reneker misses long. Was that tip? No, it was not. And so Beavercreek leads by 3. And keep that warning in mind. We saw St. Vincent St. Mary in a Division II semifinal actually receive a penalty point against them, against Carroll, for multiple substitution infractions. So
right,
keep that in mind here in this 5th.
Right now, Moeller not executing like they did in the 4th set.
And now Dollard mishandles Wong. Great hustle to keep it alive. Dollard can't get it there. Beavercreek leading by 4, and Moeller will take a timeout. The defending state champions again with their backs against the walls. They're going to have to regroup now more than ever, as Beavercreek is more than halfway to 15. Beavercreek has rebounded here midway through set number 5 to an 8-4 lead, and a timeout now for Moeller. They've got to get a response now out of this timeout.
Beavercreek started to rally. They had a play go against them. A point was overturned. Moeller got the point but couldn't capitalize, but it seemed like it fired up everybody. You had Carol Bicek kind of arguing the play, didn't get the call go her way, but I think it fired up her guys, and it's like lit a spark underneath them now that Moeller has not been able to respond. They're going to have to try to break the serve now of Noah Buell. Or Luke Buell. Beg your pardon, Noah. Your day's long gone.
Buell with the soft serve. Patterson gets that one off the hands of Towers. Every time Moeller has needed a point out of a timeout, that's the play they've gone to. And Patterson now heads out to give way to Brody Threm in the middle as Brandon Wong serves for the Crusaders, still trailing by 3.
They have not been able to go on a service run yet.
Patel up front to Brown, and Towers comes through, still alive. Gesselbrock near side takes something off, and Brown caught him by surprise.
Just a little roll shot that time by Gesselbrock. It looked, he concealed it very well because he was going up looking like he was going to take a full swing on that one, and that caused Colin Brown to kind of hang back and allow that ball to drop at his foot.
Wong trying to keep that in play and will not be able to be reached by Jack Dollard off the strike from Culpepper.
Well, that's your go-to guy.
And it's getting a feeling we had in the first and the third set that every time Moeller was trying to build a run together, Beavercreek has had the answer. And especially at an even more critical time because you don't have those added 10 points to work with. Tim Parson to serve with the Beavers up 3. Reneker, beauty.
I don't know, that time the defense for Beavercreek did not read that play, didn't even make an attempt. That was right in between Koliskowski and Akila Patel, and well-placed strike by Reneker.
And now Gesselbrock with an error we haven't seen since earlier in the match, and not the time his team needed it.
Well, probably back to the third set when they lost.
Yes.
Crusaders have been avoiding those unforced errors.
10-7 Beavercreek.
And now the big serve of Josh Culpepper.
Wong somehow made that at least playable, and now Gesselbrock gets called for a double.
Well, he was in his own head because of the serve before that. He had his head down. He's got to get out of his own head right now and just play. Look, there he is again right now, and I would think Culpepper will go right his direction.
Lee Meyer was heading towards the official, but will not use his final timeout yet. Culpepper up the middle, Dollar going back the wrong way. It'll hit a beam and carry him away. Wong is going to have a yeoman's work to get it over. He will. That's great work. Towers, no. Here is Reneker. Playable for Culpepper. Koliskowski with the roll, not there. Reneker from the cross-court feed, blocked. Gesselbrock with the left. Towers trying the dump. And over to the Beavercreek side. Culpepper from the back. Drops off the hand of Threm. And I think Moeller's going to have to take their final timeout, and they will.
What a play by Culpepper to not go over the meter line, to be able to stay behind that, to take flight, and then just tap that one over.
Was that the backbreaker for Moeller? They're down 5. Beavercreek needs 3 more to advance to the championship. Beavercreek fans at the bottom of your monitor on their feet. Moeller fans across the way on their feet, but it's the team in black and orange and their fan base making the noise as Beavercreek senses the opportunity here to eliminate the defending state champions, and at the same time, Beavercreek to go for its first state title. But still work to do, 3 more points. Culpepper into the tape.
It's only his second service error all day long with that serve. He doesn't back it down. Crusaders will have Reneker back to serve. Very little room for error now.
And the senior Nate Reneker, trying to extend his career, has to find the service run of his career. Brown with the tap back and just pushed over by Towers, but the replay here is going to give Beavercreek a chance to reload. Koliskowski through, and Beavercreek is 2 away. He has not been a factor much on the front line here today, but a critical time to come up with one.
It was a big time, and he took advantage of another mistake by Moeller. And the Crusaders, if they cannot pull this out, are going to go back and say, we gave this one away. Beavercreek has earned it, but make no mistake about it. But Moeller's made so many errors of plays that they needed to make. That was just an overhit on a play. They had a free ball chance to set up the offense.
Stagel again into the net. He did that to begin the 5th set.
He's one of the most reliable servers that Carol Bisek has, and here in this 5th set, twice into the net.
Brody Threm with Moeller down 4 to play. Culpepper clears everyone out. Koliskowski blocked by Patterson. Not much on that, but Patterson timed his jump perfectly.
Well, when you're 6'10", you got a little room and margin for error on the jump timing, but he was able to flush that one right back down. Throw him the second serve now.
Brown near side, Koliskowski long. And Carol Bisek's going to take a timeout here. The Beavers want to talk. Moeller not going away without a fight. You knew they wouldn't. Beavercreek still leading by 2, but Moeller looking to close the gap even further. Both fan bases on their feet once again. Moeller has closed a 5-point deficit down to 2, and Brody Threm will try and bring it down to 1. Upon the resumption of play, Moeller has no timeouts remaining. Beavercreek still has 1 in its pocket. And Threm caught the sideline. Culpepper let it go, and Moeller now can serve for the tie.
29 aces coming in for Brady Threm. None bigger than that right there.
It's a 5-1 Moeller run to bring the Crusaders on the precipice of a tie. Threm took something off, 50-50. Brown pokes it over. Moeller with the reload to Patterson. Stagel keeps it alive. Parson with the scramble. And Brown gets it over, but not inside the antenna. And we are tied at 13. And Carol Bisek will spend her final timeout. The defending state champions showing their mettle. We are deadlocked at 13 with Moeller on a 6-1 run. You get 60 seconds in these timeouts called by the teams. Moeller spent less than 20 in theirs. Not much Lee Meyer wants to talk about with Brody Threm on a roll on serve. Tied at 13 here in the 5th. Culpepper from the back. Not there. Haggerty with the left hand. Not the best play. Brown near side. Kolaskowski.
Got it.
He got it on the back line, and Beavercreek now has a match point to advance to the championship.
Brody Threm did not dial his serve back. Give credit to Beavercreek coming out of that timeout to get that serve return set up. It went back and forth a little bit, but Kolaskowski with a big slam. Colin Brown to close it out.
Haggerty with the touch. Markham back to Haggerty. It's deflected, playable. Where does Brown go? Kolaskowski through the wall. It's playable by Patterson. Gesselbrock goes long. It's playable. Does Brown go there? Yes, he does. But Culpepper with the opportunity sails wide, and Moeller's season is saved for the moment. We're tied at 14.
That set was just a tad off the mark for Culpepper to get the slam. Instead, had to go towards the corner, missed wide.
Another cleanup of perspiration in front of the net. Moeller fans thinking there's maybe a little gamesmanship there. But David Barnes, the down official, in that spot as well.
And he's pointing to where some of it's at.
And that's what you like to see, the official taking that step out, just to send that subtle message that it's not gamesmanship in either case. Sophomore Ben Markham now on serve for Moeller to try and put his team ahead in the 5th. Back set, Kolaskowski has to take something off. Wong sets up Gesselbrock. Brown with the play up. Culpepper leads Kolaskowski to the net. Wong and a reload for Moeller. They'll go to Patterson, and Will Patterson delivers in the clutch, and now Moeller has match point in hand.
We're essentially in overtime.
Ben Markham to send Moeller to the state championship for the 4th straight time. Low set here, and Skousen has to take something off. Free ball for Moeller. Back set to Gesselbrock, and Moeller indeed closes it out.
Wow. Gesselbrock with the kill. What a comeback for the Moeller Crusaders, and how disappointing it must be for Beavercreek.
Moeller closes on a 9-2 run to take down Beavercreek and advance to its 4th straight state championship. The score on your screen telling a small story, but overall these were as two evenly matched teams as you could ask for, and Moeller makes one more play down the stretch, and the defending state champions will have the opportunity to defend their title later this afternoon. What an unbelievable semifinal we just saw.
Give Carol Bisek and her Beavercreek Beavers all the credit in the world. She had a fantastic team. Josh Culpepper is an amazing player as he finishes out his career, and I feel for him. I feel for the seniors for Beavercreek, because I'm sure in their mind they thought they had that one won.
Carol Bisek, Lee Meyer shake hands for the final time. Beavercreek season ends in the semifinals. Moeller will go for its 10th state championship later today as they beat Beavercreek in a semifinal classic, 16-14.